Well, hello there and welcome back to the Hull City Fan Central YouTube channel, where today I do have my prediction ahead of Hull City versus Millwall live at the MKM Stadium. And what a game this promises to be after a fantastic transfer window, to say the least. 4 signings which we haven't seen in the Hull City shirt. Will we see some of them tomorrow? Most likely. So let's break through my preview and prediction ahead of this game. So let's first talk about an injury update. This also feeds in to a few of the new signings. So Philogene is back. Yes, Philogene is back after a very lengthy 8-game absence. We have heavily missed him, going through our worst run of form for the season, only picking it back up in the Sunderland game just before the nice 2-week separation between the end of the transfer window. So Philogene is back after an 8-game suspension. We'll say suspension even though he was injured after limping off against QPR in that 2-0 sorrowing defeat over in December. Also, Ryan Giles, Noro Ohio, Abdush Umar, Anas Zarawi are all fit available, along with Billy Sharp, Fabio Carvalho and Ivor Pander. So, this will be interesting because Giles and also Zarawi have featured in recent format for both of their sides. So we could possibly see them starting in some capacity, or certainly featuring more likely than the other new signings who need to probably acclimatise to the English game. So we'll see on that front. A little bit of news about Aaron Connolly's injury. It's a bit of a touch and go situation at the moment with his shoulder. He's fully recovered from his concussion with that tackle that he caused somehow against Norwich. Still angry about it, but he is expected to be back within the next week or two, a touch and go basis. Apparently he's out on the training field, so we will see on that one. A little bit of sad news about Liam Delap. It is looking likely that he could be out for the rest of the season. We'll keep an eye on that one. Not too much has been said most recently about it, but it's not looking too good, and he is back at Man City receiving treatment there. Shall we crack into my predicted Hull City starting 11? I mean, it's a starting 11 that no one can predict for this upcoming game. It seems to be that everyone's putting out different lineups, different possibilities, but this is what I'm predicting. We'll crack through it. Ryan Alsop, I don't think that Ivor Pander will get the start, and I don't think that he will start or certainly feature in a Hull City shirt in some capacity for quite some time. Of course, he needs to acclimatise to the English game. He's a young goalkeeper at that, so I presume that he'll be on the bench for this game with Ryan Alsop, who is coming off the back of a clean sheet against Sunderland, let's not forget. I do think that he will get that goalkeeper spot. Back 4 of Louis Coyle, Alfie Jones, Jacob Greaves. That's no change there. But I do think Ryan Giles will get his Hull City debut at left back after just signing from Luton Town on loan. I think it's poor on Matty Jacobs, who has had a fantastic January, a fantastic first run in a Hull City shirt in the senior team. But when you come with a player like Ryan Giles, with his sort of capacity, with his momentum behind him, with what he did last season in the Championship for Middlesbrough, I think we'll be daft not to play him in this game against Millwall. Moving a bit further up the field, Regan Slater and Tyler Morton. I don't think that will change. Of course, we do currently not have Surrey still at AFCON, along with Adama Traore. So Slater and Morton as that sort of CDM partnership, and then it could variate with the other men that we have a bit further up the field. I do think Fabio Carvalho will start yet again after impressing heavily in a Hull City shirt so far, and of course grabbing the only goal in that Sunderland win just a few weeks ago. Along with Greg Doherty, I think that his spot in the starting 11 could be up for a bit of argy-bargy with some of the new signings, most likely Abdush Umar, but he's still got to acclimatise to the English game, has only just come over, remember, in the past few days. So I do think Greg Doherty will start this game. And also, he had a fantastic game against Sunderland. I think Philogene goes straight back into the starting 11. It would be daft not to play the man who has become the bargain of the century. It's no longer 50 grand Regan Slater. It's a couple of £1 million Philogene, or however much he was. It was an absolute bargain. And I think we'll be daft not to start him. One man left. Ozan Tufan. No Ohio. Still needs to acclimatise the English game. And Billy Sharp, of course, we know what he can do off the bench. Starting 11 capacity. I don't think that's quite what he was brought in for. And with the current striker drought, although we have brought in one, I do think that Tufan will keep that spot sort of as the striker, but then can change it around a little bit. We'll see what Rosinia puts out. Last meetings between both sides. Yes, Millwall and Hull have already met this season. 2-2 draw earlier on in the season at the Den. It was a game that looked to be going in Hull's favour. We went 2-1 up in 30 minutes through Traore and Philogene. A Philogene masterclass that game was. But then unluckily we did concede later on in the game. A 2-2 draw is all we had to settle for. It was a nice little watch along we had for that game, although the frustrating draw as a result of it. We did manage to beat them though at the MKM Stadium last season in the return fixture. A 1-0 win that was. So hopefully we can power on and grab ourselves a win that will be important as we look towards the table. But first, let's cover the form. Of course, Hull City just coming out of a bad patch of form. Within the past 5 games, 3 losses, 1 draw, 1 win. Of course, that 1 win coming against Sunderland just a few weeks ago. Whereas Millwall, I mean, they've been in bad form pretty much all season, coming through in drips and drabs, but their most recent patch seems to be ongoing. A 1-0 win against Bristol away is all green they have to show for. In the past 5, 3 losses, 1 draw. So same form coming out of the past 5 games. But it's looking a little bit worse for Millwall, considering that seems to be their ongoing form for the entire season. As the table will suggest, 8th is where Hull City lie. May seem a little bit too bad. Not. We're only 1 point out of the playoff places as I record this. Yeah, we're 1 point off playoff places. A lot of people put us down as dark horses. I think our betting odds in the championships playoff races by the bookies has gone up as decreased. It's become worse. If you put a bet on at the start of the season, you'd be laughing. But if you put a bet on right now, maybe a little bit less. Millwall currently sitting 16th, a whole 9 points behind the Tigers, and of course a game in hand. Our game against Southampton postponed because they made it through the FA Cup, which a lot of teams in the Championship have already played that game week's worth of fixtures. So the Tigers do have an advantage over some teams in the Championship at the moment. So player to watch out for, Zion Fleming. Yes, he seems to have been a powerhouse for Millwall for a few seasons now. Of course, there is a little bit of a link there. Before he was at Millwall, he was at Fortuna Sittard. And you may be thinking, I know where that name has come from. And that's Ivor Panda, the man we signed from Fortuna Sittard. So both of them may have a little bit of a nice friendly exchange before the game, which will be nice to see. But obviously, he is still a very, very strong enemy. He scored 5 goals already this season, 2 assists to go along with it, just in the Championship alone, and do not expect to take him lightly. That's all I'm going to say. But 3-1 win is what I'm predicting for the Tigers. I've seen people throwing around a 6-0 win, all these crazy numbers. Although we have made the signings, a lot of them won't feature, and certainly not featuring in a high capacity. So it will be, at the crux of it, the Hull City squad that did put out an excellent performance against Sunderland last time out. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win against a struggling Millwall. Of course, they will be without Ryan Longman, who cannot play as we are loaning him to him. Of course, George Honeyman will most likely play, and we know what he can do, although he has been a little bit quiet since joining Millwall. Players to score for the Tigers. Philogene, I think he'll grab 1 when he returns back to the starting 11, along with Fabio Carvalho. And you know what, make it 2 for Jayden Philogene. I think he will grab himself a nice cheeky brace on a return back to footballing action. And I'll leave you with a photo of Adrian Olajale as I ask you, what do you think the score prediction will be? Who do you think will score? Let me know down in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe, as I will have plenty more Hull City news and content, as it's the exciting time of the season. Will Hull City make it back to the Premier League? That is the question that we need to be answered. So like and subscribe to find out the answer. Also follow me over on Twitter to get live up to date on everything Hull City. And up the Tigers. Go on!